It's finally 2026 and this year is looking to be filled with fear, dread, and games that will make you question why do you even put yourself in these predicaments. We have Resident Evil Requiem at the end of this month, Reanimal on the 13th, and maybe some possible Hellraiser alongside some dope indie games. I've gone through the entire 2026 calendar to separate the bad from the good, so you know exactly what you should be looking for this year. So strap on your diapers, bring an extra pair, and let's go over this horrifying roadmap together. Of the first game I'm going to be talking about is Resident Evil Requiem. If you know me, then you know I've been covering this game since before its announcements. Resident Evil Requiem is releasing February 27th on all consoles, including PC. I'm very excited as I've been playing this series since like, what, 9 years freaking old? Yeah, very long time. What I am most excited for about this next installment is that we finally get to see Leon for the first time since 2005. Technically, of course, if you don't count the remakes or movie spin-offs that Capcom did. In this game, you'll be able to play two characters, Grace and Leon, which will be split in half. Not like how Resident Evil 1 and 2 were, but being able to play their own story. You'll be able to switch from first person or third person to your liking at any given time, and thank God, as I did enjoy the first person element of 7 and 8, I just really miss the over the shoulder gameplay from 4. If you're an OG or new G, this is the perfect blend for old and new fans alike. Grace allows you to experience the true horrors that await you in a chronic care center, while in the next room, Leon is having a party with his girlfriend named Hatchet. Resident Evil is back into form once again, and this time they seem to be leaning more into the horror aspect more than ever, like they once did with Resident Evil 1 and 7. This is my most anticipated horror game of the year, and I cannot wait to take the day off of work and play till the color of my remote fades off while I roll some Arclay medicinal plants. But if zombies aren't your thing, maybe you'll want to take a stab at this one. Halloween 2026 is obviously like its predecessors before it, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw. You get the gist. An asymmetrical horror slash survival horror sandbox. Being developed by Ilphonic, the ones that bought you exactly some of those games I just mentioned. This is going to be released on September 8th. Why not Halloween? Probably to avoid GTA 6 devouring it. Nevertheless, I'm kind of hyped for this game for a few reasons, and maybe you should too. One reason is the story mode, and apparently you'll be able to recapture moments as Michael Myers stalking Laurie Strode and various iconic moments. While expanding the story, adding new elements to the longevity of the campaign, this caught my attention from the jump because what the hell? Why did they not apply this kind of attention with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game? It just doesn't add up. Could you imagine? I'm just happy they're finally giving you a chance to slash and gash some teens with Michael. It's a nice touch. Its price is not listed yet, but I think 40 to 50 would be a reasonable price range. Anything above, then you might as well get stabbed in the back by Michael Myers yourself. But the next one, I think people may want to get their cameras ready because the scares will get you in a flash. Oh man, Fatal Frame. A game that holds a special place in my heart. Releasing March 12th, 2026, you play as twin sisters who get drawn into a cursed Minakami village, a haunted place wiped from the map and filled with vengeful spirits. To survive and uncover the village's dark secrets, the sisters must use the camera obscura, a mystical camera capable of capturing and repelling ghosts. Now, this series I've never really played. I know. I said it has a special place in my heart, but it still do. As I watched my older cousin play this game many times, we both were horror fans, and this was one of the many games that knocked me out my socks while shitting my pants. Though I look forward to playing it for the first time. For those who played and loved the originals, you're in for a treat as the core gameplay hasn't been changed. It's just camera obscura remains the centerpiece. You fight ghosts by photographing them, and more precisely, you catch them, the more damage you deal. New features include focus, zoom, and camera filters that change how combat and exploration works. A new holding hands with Mayu mechanic deepens the emotional bond between the sisters and affect gameplay. Then expanded audio and 3D sound design to heighten immersion. But yeah, I'm very excited for Fatal Frame. But if Little Nightmares 3 didn't fill up your belly, well, it didn't fill mine either. But this next one just might. Now we're heading into double A territory of this video, and there's no way to start it off with Reanimal releasing in 2 weeks on February 13th on the week of Valentine's. You and your significant other can get the hair follicles blown right off you, because I know me and my girlfriend will. Tarsier Studios, original creators of Little Nightmares, are the ones responsible for this game. Think Little Nightmares 3, but M-rated and bloodier. This game is actually couch co-op, so you can play with your friend, mom, dad, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, cousin, and homeless man across the street. There's not much to say about the story yet. You rescue your 3 friends with your sibling, escape grotesque monsters, all while, puzzle solving like the traditional Little Nightmares style. I think the real catch of this game is the fact that the story will be longer than Little Nightmares 3, with it being about 7 to 10 hours and completionist effort in mind reaching around 12, maybe. Now, for a $39.99 price range, I think that's good. I even heard from reviews that people completed Little Nightmares 3 in less than 3 hours, so I really hope that isn't the case with Reanimal. I'll be getting this. I am a huge fan of this style of games, but rather you want it, the decision is yours. Speaking of decisions, the next installment of the Dark Pictures anthology is here. Maybe I'm not quite sure, as it was originally supposed to be released back in October of 2025, but Directive 8020 is now scheduled for a mid-2026 release with no specific date. Of course, it was developed by Supermassive Games. Unlike many previous entries, the story takes place deep in a sci-fi space rather than grounded supernatural or folklore horror, like its previous counterparts, which I am seriously stoked about. Shout out to my sci-fi horror fans out there, Players follow the crew of the colony ship Cassiopeia, which crashes on a distant exoplanet, while scouting for humanity's new home. Soon after, they confront a shape-shifting alien threat that can mimic crew members, breeding paranoia, distrust among them. This is where your decision making comes into play. Now, what's interesting about this entry compared to the others is that you invade real enemies in real time, as opposed to mostly cutscene driven events that triggers QTEs. Stealth plays a huge role, so you don't just make choices. You sneak, you hide, and you manage light and sound to avoid detection. This game provides full direct control of your characters with smoother movement, so light and noise really matter. A flashlight beam can give you sight but also alert threats. Characters have multifunctional utility strap with gadgets like a scanner to detect threats, a remote hack tool, a wedge tool that can stun enemies, so you'll be able to defend yourself way more than you used to. A brand new mechanic lets you rewind key moments or decisions so you can try different choices without restarting. And if you prefer like the classic high stakes experience, then there's a survival mode that disables rewind, so there's that. I think these examples are more than enough to get you wanting to buy this game, but if that doesn't suit your fancy, then maybe Raising Hell will. Clive Barker is back, and he's raising hell with the Xenobites once again. Just like Directive 8020, this game also does not unfortunately have a release date other than 2026 stamped on it. Why are we doing this? Like, what's going on here? But nonetheless, I am excited for this one, as I loved Hellraiser and Candyman. Those movies are gems and will forever be goated. Doug Bradley will also be returning to reprise his role as Pinhead, so we're in for a good time. You play as Aiden Lynch, a normal dude whose girlfriend Sunny gets pulled into the labyrinth after a ritual involving artifact called the Genesis of Configuration. For those who know, you know, so yeah. You move through both real-world environments and the Xenobite Labyrinth, a hellish dimension of torment and grotesque architecture. The Genesis Configuration plays a key mechanic in the game, which will grant you supernatural abilities, which, judging from the trailer, looks sick. Players will combine these powers with traditional weapons. Expect stealth combat with original Xenobites, weapon management, and BDSM for you freaks out there. I think this game is worth checking out. Just be wary as well. This is being developed by Saber Interactive, the developers who bought you World War Z and the Evil Dead game, which didn't do well. So there's always a reprise for a comeback story. So let's just wait and see. But wait, there's more movie-esque games being made by movie studios, because Crystal Theater of Idols is being made by Vermilla Studios and being published by none other than Blumhouse Games, which is crazy to me that Blumhouse is now producing and publishing games. What an expansion, man. This game for me is more of a watch what it does from a distance, and if it proves well, then I'll appreciate it, and it made me give it a go. The release date is February 10th. Once again, a month full of heart and gore. I think what really sets this game apart is that your blood is your weapon, you know? Instead of traditional ammo, you literally use your own health to fire your guns. Like, that is fucking sick. Excuse my language. Every shot drains life, so you are constantly in balance of offense and survival. You can upgrade your powers and weapons with coins and exploration rewards to enhance combat and abilities. There's a mix of combat, exploration, puzzles, and narrative horror as you uncover Tormentosa's secrets. Again, just keep an eye out for this one. I don't care too much, but I put it on this list because, you know, well, why not? But how about we give the indie games some love, huh? Let's do that. Liminal Point set to release this year, no specific day. Again, PC, PS5, Xbox, etc. This game is being developed by Hideworks, and I think this game deserves some of you guys' attention. It's an isometric top-down view game with the mechanics that are inspired by Resident Evil. There is just something unique about the monster designs that caught my eye and the consistent flow of action that was shown in this trailer. I don't know, it just looks sick as fuck. The game is greatly inspired by Silent Hill and Resident Evil, and you play as Lara Sterling, a once rising rock star haunted by the disappearance of her bandmate Mira. After receiving a cryptic voicemail, Lyra returns to the Ashen Point, a fog-covered abandoned island where her band's last tragic night occurred. The island is desolate, eerie, and full of hidden horrors. As Lyra, you'll explore abandoned buildings, fog-shrouded streets, sewers, and more. Uncover cryptic messages and fragments of the past, face grotesque creatures, and surreal, distorted realities. Questions what's real versus what is in Lyra's mind as the world distorts around you. The narrative deeply ties into memory, tragedy, and psychological unraveling, making the story as much about mind and perception as about monsters and survival. If this piques your interest, definitely give it a look, especially if you adore resources and inventory management. And one last game for the indie section is Beautiful Light, an extraction shooter set to release December of this year on PC and Steam. I mean, it's exactly what it is, an extraction shooter, and I don't really play many of those. Still haven't even gotten my hands on Ark, but I think the major pitch for this title is the asymmetrical mode that they'll be adding alongside its extraction mode, where you can choose to be a monster hunting down players, which is, you know, cool, I guess. I don't know. There's so many games with asymmetrical style that Dead by Daylight seems to be the only one who succeeded in that department. It's supposed to be filled with an horrific ambiance that sets it aside from other extraction shooters, putting players on edge who will not know whether there's a monster or a player around the corner. Yeah, it's PvP VPVE. A mouthful. I will wait on this game and see what the reviews are like, or just wait for more gameplay, you know? Well, SleepyGamerz, this is my roadmap for 2026, and my wallet is crying already. Which of these are you 100% pre-ordering? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see more videos like this roadmap, then check out my Silent Hill video on the left. If you want to see my deep dive analysis on Resident Evil Requiem, the showcase, you can click the video on the right. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you haven't, then I'll send Xenobites to drag your ass to hell. All right, sleepyheads, count your sheep, catch your Z's, and go to sleep. Peace out. There's someone behind you.